celebrating everything the Coastal Bend has to offer.
This is a great place to live, so let's talk about it.
Get the scoop on the latest trends, popular fashions, hottest music, exciting events, and so much more.
Come on, let's have some fun.
This is Coastal Living on KZTV.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coastal Living, the at-home edition. Now, we're so excited to be here with y'all, and we have to discuss this. You know, the city, the state is slowly opening up. This week, we saw some businesses like local gyms start to ease back into normalcy at a 25% capacity. Now, this can be really confusing for some of us because we've gotten really accustomed to taking all these precautions. And at what point do we decide where we can get a little more lax on things or where we want to stay firm, right? So, Jocelyn, what's your take on this? You know, the gyms are opening up again, like I said. Are you planning on heading back to the gym? Are you going to stay socially distant? I want to know.
Well, I am 100% going to stay social distant from as many people as possible. However, I am going to stay active. I come up with my own workouts as much as I can. And I think I'm going to maintain that for a while and then slowly but surely start working out at my local gym. But for now, I'm just enjoying getting outside, getting a breath of fresh air, and also coming up with my own workouts. We got to kind of just get through it in that best way, and that's the way that I'm going to probably stick with for a good while now. What about you? What are you planning on doing?
I like it. I think that's a really great strategy. As far as the gym goes, we can elaborate more on that later, but I will say that, you know, staying active, really just getting outside and getting some fresh air and moving around for a while is good enough for most of us. So unless you're trying to do your 300-pound squats, I don't think it's that necessary to jump back to the gym. But there are some other things that can be really challenging, right? Not just our physical health, but our mental health. And one thing I catch myself doing is having these kind of extreme, not mood swings, but like psychological swings where I think I'm perfectly fine. And from one minute to the next, I'm kind of getting anxious and nervous about what's going on and how am I handling it? And am I doing enough to keep myself and my family safe? Now, those are some things that inspire me to sometimes sit down and journal or kind of get outside and just get some air, not necessarily work out, but just take my dog out for a minute and get some fresh air and watch the trees blow in the wind. I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but it's kind of what we need to feel normal. Are you experiencing the same thing? I know a lot of people are, and it's kind of taboo to talk about it, but having these weird swings of emotion.
Yes, I think we are all guilty of feeling these weird type of emotional days, especially, you know, I hear from some of my friends and family, and I'm sure some of our viewers can agree that we all have some days of uncertainty. But, you know, at the beginning of this week, I wanted to encourage people to kind of break away from bad habits and give yourself a pat on the back for how far you've come during this unusual time during this pandemic. And just kind of just give yourself some credit of what you've accomplished, and especially for the goals that you set for yourself. I think that's very important. And as long as you maintain that positive thought in your mind, hey, you're going to get through the day just fine.
I agree. I like that. Like you said, it's not just physical, but it is psychological. And we can get so caught up in the uncertainty that sometimes you just need to take a break and evaluate yourself. Give yourself sort of a report card. How have I been handling this? What are the things that help me get out of this funk? And we have some good suggestions for you all. Sometimes it's as simple as reaching out to a friend or someone you love. A simple call or text can change your whole attitude, especially when you have somebody really spunky that does a good job at lifting your spirits. Then, of course, you can just step outside and get a breath of fresh air. We talked about that. And be present. Listen to the birds. Go out and feel the grass in between your toes. I mean, it sounds so silly to some people, but really it's what can make you feel centered again. And then some people just need to write it down. So whether it's talking to somebody, I'm sure there's online therapy and things like that available, but it may be something as simple as writing down in a journal what you're experiencing, how you're handling it, and what you're actually grateful for.
Yes, absolutely. I think we've mentioned this on a recent show that if you write down your thoughts and say them out loud, it's very therapeutic. So, hey, that's something that we can all do today, and especially to make our day better.
I agree. And some people really like to color. I know painting or coloring, there's adult color books, there's apps on your phone where you can actually, use your hand and color that way, but that can be therapeutic as well. So we've covered sort of the physical health, the mental health, but let's talk about your actual immune system health, which is really important as we're easing back in and getting more lax on some of these restrictions as far as the government goes. Some of us may be uncertain as to how to manage this, especially those that need to take extra precautions, right? Someone who has a weak immune system or a disease that puts your health at risk. So recently I was able to visit with a WellMed representative to discover our options when it comes to our physical health. Check it out. Now, at this time, I think there may be a lot of confusion about this certain aspect of restrictions being released. And here I have a professional to discuss with us. So as these restrictions are lifted in Elizabeth Glazier, she's the chief of palliative care at WellMed. She says it's important to talk to your doctor about what is right for you before stopping precautions. It's so important. This is everybody's first time dealing with this situation and all of our first time returning to what we hope will be normalcy one day. Now, tell us, Elizabeth, how will we know if lifting the COVID restrictions is right for us?
It's a great question, Clarissa. Not everyone's created equally, and our risks aren't equal. People who are older adults, age 60 and above, and people with chronic medical conditions are at increased risk for developing severe illness from COVID-19. So it's really vital at this point to talk to your doctor before you lessen your own restrictions.
Absolutely. And it's really important to have that professional advice because we see other people coming back very candidly. Maybe they're not so worried. They feel like they're healthy, but it's not about them. It's about you and what your body can handle. So how do we determine if we are at a greater risk?
Well, like I said, older adults certainly pose an increased risk, but then the chronic medical conditions also pose an increased risk. Things like diabetes or respiratory illnesses like emphysema or asthma, or even chronic heart, lung, and kidney disease all pose a greater risk. But despite an increased risk, even if you don't feel like you are at an increased risk, it's really important for you to act responsibly. And when you do go out, to continue social distancing and to wear your mask all the time when you're out in public, whether you feel like you're sick or you're not, or you have a chronic medical condition or you don't, always relying on guidance from the CDC, your local health department, and your doctor. Really critical to speak to your doctor.
I agree. And it is important. It's our responsibility, regardless of your health, to consider other people's health. My mother has diabetes. My father had open heart surgery just less than a year ago. So it's something that I am very conscious of. Now, if you know that you are at greater risk, what restrictions can you take as the regular restrictions are loosened?
Well, definitely thinking through, do you need to leave your home is the first one. Don't let your guard down. Don't be complacent. We need to be vigilant as we move forward with lessening restrictions. So just because restrictions are lessened doesn't mean we all need to run out of our homes and leave that safety. We need to make sure those trips outside of our home are essential. For many of us, we probably have stopped going to our doctor. We've probably put off regular checkups. So now is a great time to re-engage with your physician. I know at WellMed, we're finding novel ways to see patients without putting them at increased risk. Curbside visits where you can see your doctor in the parking lot, or virtual visits where you can see your doctor on a telemedicine visit from the comfort of your own home. But when you do go out and you need to go out, wear your masks, whether you are at a high risk category or whether you're a low risk category. Every single person needs to wear a mask and social distance from one another. Stay 6 feet away from each other when you're out and about. Wash your hands for 20 seconds when you come back from being out. And really, we're all a community here. We need to take care of each other. So making sure when we are lessening our restrictions, we're talking to our doctor about our own risk, as well as making sure we're cognizant of the risks of others around us.
Well, this is all one nation, and it is important. Let's remember, wash your hands while you're just because things are easing back to normalcy doesn't mean we return 100% to what we remember as normal. It's going to be a very long time before anything feels normal again. So
exactly.
For those who are looking for more information, where can they go?
Great question. It's important, again, to talk to your doctor, whether you have symptoms and you're feeling sick and you wonder if this could be COVID-19, or whether you just need help with a prescription refill or taking care of your chronic medical ailments. We have a 24/7 nurse helpline at WellMed, and you are more than welcome to call that at 866-469-4669. 3897, or check out our webpage at wellmedhealthcare.com, where there are a lot of answers to many questions that you probably have.
Wonderful. We got a lot of wonderful information today. We hope our viewers can benefit from this. We may be saving lives with one interview. Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so our wellness check so far, so good. We've got a lot of really useful information in just the first few minutes of our show, and we're going to keep the positivity rolling. Now, we have an awesome show coming up. We're going to celebrate our graduating seniors of 2020. We have your Coastal Living Daily Challenge, plus Jocelyn has another workout for us to try to keep our blood flowing and our spirits high, maybe get you out of the house and help you get some fresh air and enjoy the sound of the ocean waves. Hint, hint. We'll find out when we return right here on Coastal Living.
You're watching Coastal Living on KZTV, the only lifestyle show made in the Coastal Bend for the Coastal Bend.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.